Folks, here we are, a Friday night.
Start, brother. Go ahead. Start.
Well, folks, here we are, Friday night reading. To my left, I have here Mama Lou, who I hope wouldn't fall asleep as I read. On my right, I have Anne Brown, visiting from Canada. So we're going to try tonight a story from Jewels of the Caribbean, a pot-baked production. And it's called Punchin, written by Vernice Phillip of Arima. In her, what's the word? She's the daughter of a wonderful woman, Judy Williams, and is encouraged in all her endeavors by her sister, Roxanne Phillip Lamorel. Vernice lives under the domination of her dog, Petal. Neither of them drinks Punchin.
Very good.
And she was glad to have her work has never been before published, so she's grateful for the opportunity provided by this competition and its organizers. So there was this competition, West Indian competition, and the effort was really to promote West Indian literature, especially where there's a problem of finding suitable publishers for unknown authors. So tonight I'm going to try to read this story called Punchin. Hope you enjoy.
Don't get drunk.
Clarence watched as his father lifted the glass to his head and drained it. His bold profile was striking against the lengthening shadows of the early evening. Even in the semi-gloom of the grimy Curepe bar, Clarence could see Ramish smack his lips in satisfaction before setting the glass on the table with his rough, hairy fingers. "Yes, man, that is the damn thing self," Ramish declared. The man beside him did likewise, but his grimace as he swallowed marked him as a newcomer to the world of Punchin drinking. Clarence, who had secretly snuck a taste of the liquor in the past, empathized. Sitting in this bar watching his father and friends drink Punchin was not his idea of an enjoyable way to spend a Friday evening. Friday evening reading. But once again,
in a bar.
I tell you. But once again, his mother had sent him to bring his father home. Ramish, of course, would not comply. Now Ramish began singing a popular soca tune, horribly off-key. "I drink in Punchin, and I don't really cater, oi." He paused as a thought occurred to him. "You know it have plenty song about Punchin?" "That's true, another Punchin veteran, Albert agreed. "It have the next one too. Barman, give me a Guinness and Punchin." As he spoke, he lifted his glass. "Plenty songs about Punchin. That is because Punchin is the best drink it have," Ramish opined. "I don't care what nobody say, Punchin is the best. You don't get no hangover with Punchin, and it don't give you no stink smell." "But Ramish," Bert asked, his greasy face shining, "why people just call this thing Speak the Truth?" The table erupted in laughter. Bert, as the most recent addition to this assembly, clearly did not realize that for his new companions, the drinking of Punchin was almost a religious ritual. The other man, Albert, began banging on the table as if in parliament. "Yes, man," he bellowed, "speak the truth." Clarence listened attentively for the response, as he himself had often wondered the same thing. As the racket died down, Ramish responded, "Boy, people just call this thing Speak the Truth because they say you can't lie when you drink it. The truth must come out." "But that is who can hold their drinks," Albert chimed in. "A real man could always handle his scene." This time Ramish supplied the banging, "Yes, man, you're right." Bert nodded with enlightenment. As he watched the men, it seemed to Clarence that Bert did not quite fit in with the group. He was a little too quiet, and there was a restless quality about him. He seldom made eye contact, and his eyes were constantly traversing the room, as if he could not quite relax. He constantly fingered a dirty knapsack he held in his lap. Meanwhile, Albert pontificated as if on a pulpit. It have some man only plain man. Yes, Ramish added, his formidable bare gut trembling with the force of his conviction. Is not man, is maniku. Albert again exploded with laughter, as if this was the height of hilarity, although Clarence knew that his father had made the same witticism many times before. He also knew by heart the line that came next. That is why I tell this boy, Ramish pointed at Clarence dramatically, to tell that woman I going to come home when I damn well ready. By you. Ramish's friends banged loudly in agreement. Clarence sighed. He hated when his mother sent him to collect his father. Every payday it was the same story. Yes, Albert prayed. You can't make them woman rule you. That is why I tell Lynette, go she way. I tell she, woman, I can't handle you tying up my scene. He leaned towards Clarence, pinning him with a red-eyed gaze. Boy, take my advice. Don't let no woman tie up your foot. Recently, Clarence's thoughts were preoccupied with a certain girl in his class, with whom he would not have minded tangling his feet, not to mention other appendages. However, he decided that this was perhaps not an opportune moment to share that information. Clarence's attention drifted as Albert began repeating yet again the story of his heroic escape from the bonds of matrimony. He glanced around the room where the drinkers had come in to roost. There were few amenities, some shaky tables and old chairs. Clarence had heard that there were people who would pay a lot of money for old furniture, calling them antiques. But somehow he doubted this type of furniture was what such people would have in mind. This was a true hawk and spit bar, as his mother termed it. The sour smell of beer entwined with cigarette residue wafted up to his nostrils. Posters of scantily clad women adorned the walls, yellowing and curling at the edges like wood shavings. His attention was pulled back to the table by a new arrival. Capitan, another of his father's friends, approached breathing hard and wearing a thunderous expression. Hey man, how you now reach? Ramish hailed him. Capitan, Bert greeted him, but his eyes were fixed on a decrepit poster of a bikini-clad Carib girl. How I now reach? The tall Rastafarian man stormed. Man, if I tell you, I so vex if you stick me, you can't get blood. Vex? Vex for what? Albert chimed in. Just imagine my good shirt, my new shirt. What I tell all you I buy last week. You know somebody thief it? What? Ramish exclaimed. The one you buy for your sister's wedding? Yes, man. $300 I pay for that. Capitan shook his dreadlocks mournfully. How somebody thief it? Ramish asked. Man, my wife washed this morning and hung the clothes on the line. You know, time I reach home, my shirt gone. I search high and low. That is how I now reach. Well, you know how the pipers is wrong by we, Bert said, filling his glass. I want to ask you if you see anything as you living right next door, Capitan said, dropping onto a stool. Nah, man. You know if I did see something, I would have stopped the man right in the tracks. I'm not making joke. It would have been licks like peas. Bert declared with vigor that surprised Clarence. The image of the skinny, quiet man beating anyone was so incongruous that he almost burst out laughing. I studying how a man could be so bold to do a thing like that right in the daytime. And I never see a nice green shirt like that before. Capitan groused. Is a color something like lime, a real nice shirt. Man, day or night come like nothing to these criminals now, yes? Bert opined solemnly. You can't raise up your pressure. Best thing to do is take a shot of Punchin and forget that. You're right, yes, Capitan agreed. Tall man, bring our next glass. When the bartender complied, Albert grumbled. All your place should I have cutters? I hungry like a dog. He patted his stomach through his rumpled shirt. Bert queried. You ain't eat no lunch or what? I eat KFC, boy. Albert lifted his glass to his lips, taking a long swallow as if to assuage his hunger. Again, Ramish stared at his co-worker incredulously. You're turning into a KFC king. You eat KFC every day this week. Papa. Well, what do you expect? He's a bachelor, Bert joked slyly. No more cooked food for he. The mention of food made Clarence's belly rumble in response. He thought of the mouth-watering aroma of stewed pork and provision that had trailed behind him as he departed on this futile errand. Without much hope, he tried again. Pa, you ain't ready to go? Ma said to tell you she waiting. Actually, what Clarence's mother had said was, tell your good-for-nothing father I said bring his tail home from there, that hawk and spit bar, where he and them other good-for-nothing salop was beliming. But Clarence thought some minor editing might be in order. The mere mention of Dolores Edwards was enough to inflame Ramish. What, he blared? Look here, boy. Don't get me on me wrong side here today. I tell you, I's the one wearing the pants in my house. I's the boss. No woman ain't telling me when to come and when to go. You okay, kiddo?
Nobody can tell him when to come or when to go.
You're lucky. Where am I now? Heat rose in Clarence's face.
Woman can't tell him when to come and when to go.
Thank you. Heat rose in Clarence's face as he looked around to see who was noticing this play. But he did not need to worry. The noise level in the bar had risen with the amount of alcohol consumed, and his father's outburst was hardly noticeable over the noise generated by the roomful of men, all laughing raucously and shouting as though addressing a stadium. Even Bert, who sat next to Ramish, barely seemed to hear. He was lolling, half off his seat, with an alcohol-sodden smile on his lips. Friday night, boy. No wonder the guy is drinking. Friday night, eh? Correct as ever. Wow. As you talk about woman, Capitan interrupted. Albert, I see Lynette yesterday. Which part? Albert responded quickly. I see she and a man from Ramgoli Trace going in a train by the junction. Attack. Something in the man's tone caused Clarence to turn around sharply. He got a shock. Albert's lips were quivering and his throat working. Oh gosh, Albert bawled suddenly. I lost my woman. To his horror, Clarence saw that the older man was crying openly, tears and snaps streaming down his face. Emotions run when people are drinking alcohol. Emotions get the better of people. The emotional side takes over. People begin to cry. Alcohol in the mind. Situations are bad. And it around a table, actually, when men are drinking, like in a Trinidad scene, and perhaps in every West Indian scene, you find people sitting down and they're drinking. And some people might be talking about this love affair. Some may be talking about horrors on the job. Somebody want to migrate. Somebody want to do something. But there is the atmosphere of alcohol. And I guess in any country, and you could verify that perhaps by knowing some cases in wherever it be, Canada, the States, Switzerland, Austria, people go into bars and they sit down. Sidewalk cafes, they sit down, they talk, they drink wine, they begin to open up, right? Yeah. So it's nothing far-fetched. Okay. For a moment, the other men seemed frozen by this unprecedented display of emotion. And it's shocking, really. You're drinking with a guy there, you have gone into the bar to have a nice little time, and suddenly, the alcohol. Some people begin to even sing, take your troubles down by the riverside. Remember that? Right? People get emotional, and they get even religious. People who are not even religious, when they go to drink, they find that this religious ingrained in them, and it comes out. So, but Albert, Ramish cried, what wrong with you? Is you crying for that woman? You know, say you're glad she gone. Albert did not seem to hear him. Oh gosh, Leonard, why you leave me? Don't take it on, man. Come, now, relax yourself. Bert slurred. It have plenty women out there. He waved his arm in the air, presumably to indicate the throngs of women available, and in the process knocked over the bottle of Punchin. The liquor splashed onto the floor. This blasphemous act infuriated Ramish. Oh, geez and ages, man, watch yourself. You knock over the bottle. Bert, on the other hand, was a picture of conviviality. He patted Ramish warmly on the back. What are you worrying yourself for, man? He swayed as he stood. I go buy it back. He hoisted his backpack onto the table, sending it into a precarious lean. Let me just find my wallet. He unzipped the backpack, and as he fumbled around clumsily, a scrap of bright green fabric fluttered out. At the sight of it, Capitan jumped to his feet. Right? You thief, he roared. It's you who take my shirt. He leaned across the table and grabbed the other man by the collar. Let me go, Bert cried. Take your old shirt now. I sure you don't buy you buy that by Jatans. Jatans, man, I go give you Jatans. I need to buy you to bust your head. Capitan began shaking his neighbor like a chak-chak. Hey, cool yourself, Ramish said in vain. You're talking about pipers, but you is the piper. Each word was accompanied by a vigorous shake. Bert's arm flailed like windmills. I tell you, take you, old Zabuka shirt. From the time you move in the neighborhood, I know it was trouble. Capitan shoved Bert on the table, and it fell over with a clatter. Clarence scrambled to distance himself from what looked like a certain fight. But before the situation could escalate, the owner of the bar appeared and grabbed Capitan by the hand. Not in here, he shouted. All you want to fight? Go outside. Can't hold your drink and want to come and break up my place? Go outside. Seemingly out of thin air, a baton appeared in his hands, and the men saw the wisdom of a hasty retreat. In no time at all, Clarence found himself on the pavement with his father. Albert stood next to them, blinking confusedly. Bert was staggering down the street, pursued by Capitan, who was still bellowing about his shirt. What happened to Capitan? Albert asked, gazing after them. Ramish stoops in disgust. Time for you to go home to your bed, yes? That woman like she have you dotish. Together, Clarence and Ramish helped Albert into a taxi before beginning their walk home. Though Ramish was not slurring his words like Burton had done, Clarence could not help but notice that his father walked home along a zigzag path. Although he was exhausted, the sight of the small brick house gave him a sinking feeling in the stomach. Here we go again, he thought. Clarence's mother was waiting in the living room when they got there. Her expression was as ominous as storm clouds over Port of Spain. Her arms were crossed over her ample bosom, and her foot was tapping angrily. Even the curls on her head seemed to shake with rage. So, Mr. Man, is now you decide to find yourself home, eh? Her tone was acid. Ramish underwent a sudden transformation. His voice became soft and low. Oh gosh, darling, don't get on so now, he pleaded. Don't get on so? You find I'm getting on? Dolores advanced on her husband and began shaking her finger in his face. Since 4 o'clock work finished, it's 3 o'clock on Saturday morning, and you find I'm getting on? Like you ain't care about your wife at all? Come now, darling, Ramish wheedled. How you go say that? You know I really love you. You is the sugar in my tamarind ball. You is the dal in my dalberry. I gonna be sadder without you.
You gonna be sadder without her.
Don't give me them old stale lyrics. Say that for your real woman. Her full lips pursed tightly. Ramish was confused. What real woman you talking about? Madame Punchin, that is the one you really love. No, Dudu, only you. Ramish made as if to hug Dolores, but she stopped him in his tracks with a raised hand. Darling, I'm sorry. Is darling no? And so long I sent the boy to call you and you refuse to come home? You can't find your way home till morning. And drunk to boot, eh? You ain't even come to drop money for groceries? I sure you must be spending all your money in the bar. Oh gosh, Dolores, what you quarreling so for? It's late. Let me go and sleep. Hey, I go in and sleep. Don't feel you coming and lie down next to me with your rum breath. With that, she stormed into the bedroom. She reappeared a few seconds later with a pillow, and she promptly threw at Ramish. Look, a pillow. You're sleeping outside. You don't bunk for sheep. I sure I'd have a bottle of Punchin somewhere there to warm you up. She strode briskly away and slammed the bedroom door, just as she always did. Clarence sighed. Every payday, the same story. He looked across at the boss of the house, trying to get comfortable on the couch, and thought about how the rum made Albert reveal his true feelings. He remembered how the rum exposed Bert as a thief. He laughed softly. Maybe Punchin really was speak the truth.
Speak the truth.
Yes, my dear friends. So this is found in the book called Jewels of the Caribbean. Sometimes, families have problems, drinking problems, money problems, children problems, husband and wife problems. But I am sure that when Ramish would wake up the next day, he and the wife would probably make up. And he would probably vow during the course of the week to stay straight. And next Friday would come. But it's peculiar, even now, that even couples are going to bars and drinking together. They're drinking together.
Well, they say if you can't fight them, join them.
Well, that might be true. And maybe there are women who will go alone. And they might have a husband who may not be interested. But Sana, we're almost through. So friends, whatever be the problem, the fact is that togetherness might be able to work out things. You know what I mean? Nobody's beyond help. Nobody's beyond reconciliation. So thank you for this reading. Appreciate it very much. I hope you enjoyed the story.
Pistachio, that's our favorite.